Hey, welcome back. Today's guest has lived a life that most of the people could fit into 3 careers. She's an Army major, an orthopedic sports surgeon, a jiu-jitsu black belt, researcher, author, and someone who has made it her mission to keep soldiers and combat athletes healthy to keep them doing what they love to do. Today, we're going to talk about medicine, military service, talk about competitions, injuries, recovery, and what really takes to dedicate your life to helping others. This is Dr. Megan Jimenez. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Of course. All right, Doc. Hey, first of all, thank you. I really do appreciate you putting your time here. Been looking forward to this conversation, right? Because we hang out, we train the same gym, do a lot of stuff to, cross paths, have a lot of conversations. But I'm really interested in like the drive that people have to become super successful, right? And even if you don't think you are, you're phenomenally successful to a lot of people. So that's pretty awesome. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions here and there, and we'll see where it goes. But I love this first one. So, hey, most people know you as Doctor Jiu Jitsu, right? As your podcast, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But if we went back 20 years, right? Who was Megan before medicine?
20 years. I was already in medicine then.
Oh, wow.
Those careers take forever. People ask me what was harder, getting your black belt or medicine. I said, well, they're both hard because they're both similar time frames. It's definitely longer to get into medicine, but jiu-jitsu is cool because it's always something I've loved. And medicine has a lot of things that you don't want to do. And you kind of have to just do it because everybody did it before you. But 20 years ago, I guess I was 17. Yeah, I'd be 17. So I was in college. Just going into college, and I wanted to be in medicine my whole life. So I was already trying to figure out how to get to medical school at that time. But I was having a good time in college too.
So 17 in college, so you graduated high school 17, or did you do like a dual enrollment kind of thing?
No, I was born in September, and the cutoff in Jersey is October 1. So I kind of made it. So I was one of the youngest. Now I was 17, and then I got to college, turned 18.
So you think somebody that's in medicine, like doctors, any doctor, right, or any medical field like that, you think it's something they all want to do when they're young, or is it something, could somebody get into it later in their life, since it is something that takes a long time to get very good at that craft?
I think most people probably start thinking about it when they're young. I wanted to be a veterinarian first.
Yeah.
And then I was allergic to cats when I was younger. It's like, well, I probably can't do that. And I loved animals. So people said, why don't you just go do it for people? And then I wanted to be a pediatrician for a while. But then when I got into medical school and started, I loved surgery. I said, this is what I got to do. But I think most people probably go into college with an idea. Because you have to take the MCAT, you have to take pre-med courses, there's prerequisites to get in, right? So you have to be planning. You can't I guess you could. Most people don't kind of wake up as a senior in college and say, I want to go to med school. But then you have to take years off or go and do more schooling to get the prerequisites down. I did have a friend who was a lawyer first, and she was a lawyer, and she started med school in her 30s, and she was in my class. Good friend of mine. Yeah. Brilliant chick. Yeah.
Isn't that like I think that would be the second most schooling you probably need for a career.
Listen, I said, you enjoy self-torture because that is a lot of school. And she's like, yep, I do, but I just wanted to be a doctor.
Man, well, Jesus. Yeah. That's wild. You said one of your sources, right, is the pride that you have, your internal drive to have things done, right? Where does that drive come from? I mean, I think I've developed mine, and I think I talked to my last zero. Like, I feel like I'm a late bloomer at this point, right? Because I'm working on my master's now. I was like, in the last 10 years, I'm like, man, I got to do something in my life. That's just me. But where did that drive come from? If you're 17, you're like, I'm going to be a med career. Where'd that drive start?
I think it comes from a lot from my parents and from my family. They came from Cuba, came here, and they were so driven. My dad wanted to start his own business, and he did that. And I watched him do that. And we went from, very little to him making it. And I got to see that success. And I was like, I could do that too. And I think it's just in my personality, probably part genetics, part environment,
Yeah.
And if you look at your personality, there's big 5 personality assessments you can take online.
Okay.
And when I look at mine and I put it into Claude and I say, hey, help me do this and this based on my personality, it's all based on drive and goals.
Nice. So Claude, right? It's AI, right?
Yeah.
AI, right? Yeah. No, from here, I'm a ChatGPT guy. Don't beat me up and whatever. I know it's amateur, but I love it.
They're all great.
Yeah.
They're all great. I think they have different purposes. And I think Claude just serves me better for writing, for my newsletter, to help me edit things for my book. It just helps me with little things, editing wise. And it's a great life coach too. Like, I have a life coach in person, and he tells me to look at Claude.
Nice. Yeah. So that's awesome, because I've had these conversations with senior leaders in the Army. I've had this conversation with business people, because business is kind of where I'm going, right? And they're like, they want to frown on, oh, you're using AI. Brother, AI, sister, that is what's running the world right now, right? I mean, I'll go sit down with a therapist, and they're like, hey, do you mind if I use AI to take my notes? It's an assistant, right? And I was doing this thing, my AI about, I took a college class on business and using AI, and one of the things was I had to sit down and do a 45-minute conversation with my AI to make me know who it is. It's like, hey, you're going to be my chief of staff, and this is how I am. And I had an unfiltered conversation with it, and now it responds like me. It gives me notes I should get.
If you prompt it well, It's great. You can't just go on it and say, hey, tell me what to do tomorrow. Like if you prompt it with what you like, I put my big five assessment in there because you could take it online. I'll put that in there and be like, based on this, how should I attack this problem? What might some things I miss? Like, what are things I might miss? Tell me how to do this, or give me a calendar to edit my book. I just love it. I think the problem arises. People are now using it just to write for them. Like, hey, I have to do this, this, and this. Write me this.
Yeah.
Whereas I still want to use my voice and write things, and then I plug it into Claude, and then I say, hey, just make this crisper, right? Or edit it. Fix my wording.
No,
Simple.
100%. Yeah, that's what I do in mine too, right? Like I usually come out with the idea and then I'll be like, hey, where am I missing the mark here? What can I do to take this to the next level? Where am I, is my aggressive personality coming out too much? I've had to do that a couple times. My wife's funny with it, right? Because I've showed her how to use it. And now she'll be like, my wife's a firecracker if you guys don't know her, she is. But I told her, I said, you got to take this and tell your chat that you're going to write an email to somebody you're mad at and do it passive aggressively. It works out for her sometimes.
It helps with emails too. Like,
Oh,
is this okay?
yeah.
And they're like, well, maybe you should keep this out or change this. Make it more professional.
I put it in there before. I'm like, this is how my boss is. This is her personality. If I write her this email, how is she going to react based off that? And it'll tell me. It saved me a couple of times. I'm not going to lie. It's been pretty awesome.
I love it. I was just at an orthopedic sports conference these past couple of days in Seattle, and everyone was using it for pictures. Like they would put pictures up on the screen of who the panelists were with funny shit all over it. And I thought it was incredible, but Claude's not as good at that. ChatGPT is really good at making images.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with Claude. I just kind of generally know what it is. I've been on ChatGPT trained since I've probably had my chat now for over a year.
Yeah.
My chat's pretty good. I'll put it out there. I think it's the best. It's number one. I got a good one, man. It knows me. It knows me well, and I use it a lot. I probably use it daily. It's funny you say that. I was at a thing for the military, and they all these people are making these great slides, and they're wording them, doing all this great stuff, and I'm laughing because their picture was ChatGPT, and it was like, I'm a military police officer, right? Like I'm not storming the beach of Normandy, right? Like we know I'm not coming out of the back of a boat. First of all, I'm in the Army, not in the water, and this guy had this picture of MPs coming off a boat, storming the beaches of somewhere, and he's talking about how we're going into the next level of conflict. And I was like, man, you need to get your ChatGPT online. That thing's off.
It does its best. Sometimes I put pictures up and it doesn't even look like a real me. It's just kind of an image. Like it's good enough for what I need to portray.
Yeah, it's interesting. So 17 years old, you're in college. You're like, hey, I'm going to do med school. So that's a lot. You're in med school. So where'd you find jiu-jitsu?
So I have been training martial arts since I was 5. My mom put me in ballet around 4 years old. And you know me and ballet was not picturesque. And I would just sit there in the corner with my arms around my chest, like around, crossed and in my tutu, miserable. And there's videos and pictures of me there's a whole ballet recital and I won't move. And so I was so miserable. My mom, she just wanted me to be like a cutesy girly girl.
Yeah.
And then there was a karate studio above, and I would see these kids going up there to kick each other's asses. And I said, I want to do that instead. And her, my grandpa, my dad, they were like, all right. And that was it. I fell in love with martial arts. So I was never a girly girl like my mom always wanted. And then did karate forever, black belt, got my second degree. Was enjoying it, but it's a karate, the katas.
Yeah.
But it's where I got my discipline, I think, and where I just learned respect, learned discipline, and got a lot of my personality and hopefully the good parts.
Yeah.
But that's where I started. And then I boxed in college because I didn't really know any jiu-jitsu. And we had a boxing club in college. So I boxed a while, got tired of getting hit in the head, and then found Muay Thai. Same thing. I just didn't want to get hit in the head. And I was in medical school at that time. Saw people rolling around in pajamas or in geese, which I had in karate. And so I bought a $40 Fujiki on Amazon, went over, tried it, never looked back. And that was probably, that was about 12 years ago.
Crazy. So you said karate gave you some of your discipline, right? So outside of the discipline, I feel like jiu-jitsu gave me a lot of discipline, right? Like I talk about this all the time. Like I think jiu-jitsu has got me a lot of places in my life, and not because like I've been, whatever. It's just like it was really hard when somebody's trying to strangle you and you got to be calm and figure out how to get out. So I can understand how that definitely like turned into something that helped you with discipline and that drive to get something done.
I think it was great as a kid. Like that, getting that as a kid, the structure was tremendous, and just having more confidence in myself to go talk to anybody, to go do so much more. And I think karate really gave me that edge. But you mentioned, somebody strangling you, but you having to maintain composure. I think there's so many parallels to jujitsu in life, and I write about it a lot. And you have to stay calm in all this chaos, which is life, right? That's one of the reasons I like to compete, is because it's such a stressful situation that you're kind of putting yourself into. And then when stress hits in life, you're like, well, I just had somebody trying to kill me for 10 minutes, right? And it kind of evens it out and makes you realize how oh, it's not that bad. Like that stress that I'm having in life is not that bad.
Yeah, not at all. And we're gonna pause real quick. Hold on. And all right, so back on the jiu-jitsu train, right? So you remember your first class?
Not super vividly. I remember the gym, my first professor, and kind of the people that were around, but I don't think I could detail the first class.
No. Where's your first class at?
It was in Turnersville, New Jersey. Yeah, so where I kind of close to where I did medical
Yeah.
school. And I think it was like a UFC gym, or actually, I think it was an LA boxing. It used to be an LA boxing gym. And the Jonathan Webb, he's my first coach, who I still, anytime I go to Jersey, he's the gym I go to because he's just tremendous what he's built over the years. But I think he didn't own it or anything at the time. He just taught jujitsu in the back. It was just a little mat, a couple of us, me and one other teenage female, but the rest were all guys. That's kind of how it used to be, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And so Jonathan had the class and it was awesome. And then it became a UFC gym. And then the guy that owned it wanted to sell it. So Jonathan ended up buying it eventually. And then he made it Web MMA, Web Fitness and MMA. But it used to be, yeah, LA boxing and a UFC gym. And
Oh.
just jujitsu in the back corner.
That's I mean, I started jiu-jitsu 26 years ago. So I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, we were, there was like 4 dudes. I mean, first tournament we were on puzzle mats. We were allowed to slam each other in the gi. It was pretty wild. But so you're in there, you're in LA Fitness. What got you hooked? Everybody gets hooked on jiu-jitsu some way.
That was the first class. I knew I loved it. And I honestly just didn't want to get hit in the head anymore.
You didn't get beat up by some 15-year-old, and then that's my story. That's like everybody's story. I got beat up by this kid, and I was hooked.
Yeah, no, I think I just liked the people,
Yeah.
and I thought it was so cool and to be a total beginner at it.
What year did you start jiu-jitsu?
12 years ago. So what was that?
Okay, 12 years ago. So yeah, 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu became more social right around. I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was like not very social. But, like we just went there, we did it, and got yelled at by some Brazilian that I didn't understand. But it was okay though. I mean, I still loved it. I love the fact of what we did. But yeah, it got a little more. I think jiu-jitsu's got more social, and it's become more of a therapy. It's weird to say that. I tell people all the time. They're like, "Yeah, man, you've been doing it so long. What's changed?" I was like, when I first started, I mean, we didn't do crazy De La Hiva guards. I did like punch block drills. Like we would have days we come in, you'd be in the gi, and half the class would wear boxing gloves, and the other half wouldn't. And at the time, it was Helson Gracie. He would tell us like, "You're gonna fight, but they're gonna punch you, and you're gonna only do jujitsu." So then you would be in there trying to figure out like, you can't pull guard, man. You're gonna get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But now people pull guard. It's a thing. Like and that's it. No partial to it. I don't really care. I like jujitsu. I love the evolution of it, but. Back then it was more like old school Carlson Gracie. We're here to kill everybody. Now I don't think we've more like, I think jiu-jitsu's turned to therapy.
It's technical and it's a community.
Yeah.
And I love it.
No, I do too. I think that's I'm glad it went that way. I don't think it would have I think it exploded for a reason because the UFC kind of gave it lit the fuse, but I don't think it was the bomb. I think the bomb when it blew up is like the fact that people I want to say trauma bond. I think it's a bad thing, but people trauma bond.
It's the military thing.
Yeah, that is the military thing, but it was good. So we're sticking to jiu-jitsu, right? Most doctors tell athletes what to do, right? But you actually train with them. Why is this important?
That's huge. I mean, you have to understand the sport or at least care to try if you're going to treat an athlete. And more so for return to sport. I mean, how I treat athletes is very important too, right? Because I've had 3 of the surgeries that I do that I actually physically do. So that has taught me a lot as well. But how I approach athletes is very different. And you have to kind of know people's styles, right? If somebody really likes to wrestle, stand on their feet, twisting, pivoting with an ACL, you're not going to cope with that as well. If you don't do surgery on an ACL tear, you might. But if you like to pull guard, play more guard, you may be okay and be a coper with an ACL tear and not need surgery. So I think these are important delineations for a surgeon to know what jiu-jitsu is about and what style people have. Gi, no gi, all the things. Return to sport is even more important though, because if you try to make them return to sport like a basketball player or a football player, somebody with a more traditional sport, you're going to be totally off. You're going to miss it. Telling people they can go back at 9 months, right after an ACL early, as we let people go back to sport is 9 months, delineating sport from competition, right? Starting to train versus competition. Had a guy with a multi-leg knee. Buddy of mine, friend did a surgery. He had torn 2 ligaments, had reconstruction, and the buddy's like, all right, 9 months, you can return to sport. The guy booked a tournament at 9 months. I was like, no. That means you start getting back to the sport. Like you start comp training at 9 months. And so understanding that and how you speak to people, like you can't just say, okay, you can get back to training. Because what does that mean?
Oh, I'm going.
Correct. That means you're going full send
Yeah.
without making sure we're fully strong, making sure that we can handle a reverse De La Hiva on a knee that we did surgery on 9 months ago. So I really push physical therapists that know the sport as well, because they can do sport specific jujitsu type stock type things to get people back.
That's good because I'm that guy. You know what I mean, if I injure
We
myself,
all are.
yeah, you know me. I'm like, oh, that hurt. Let's just keep going.
I'm the same way. I mean, I've
Yeah,
gotten better with time and I'm much
yeah,
more cautious as I've gotten older with the injuries I've had. But when I was in my 20s,
yeah.
I was right in there with you.
No, it's and we've talked about this before, but like talked about this outside the podcast. But I remember you telling me about it, and every time I think about it, I think of those scene. I think it was I don't remember. It was a movie about football players though. I just remember they had that big guy with the pig, and it was like high school playing, and the guy blew his knee out playing as a quarterback, and he went in the back, and dude just shot him up with some like steroid, and he was just like, get out there, and I always think about that as like a picture in my head because I think that like I know at very high levels when you're making millions, like I mean I'm not gonna lie, I mean if I'm making millions of dollars in a sport and I blow my ACL out and I know if you just shoot me with a steroid, I'm gonna finish this fight and win another 3 million, like I'll see you at the hospital later.
Well, there's no promise to that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you can't promise that I can give you a steroid and like
it just
go.
goes. Yeah,
That's you can't make those kind of promises. And I mean, Lindsey Vaughn's a great example, right? She tore
yeah,
her ACL. She knew, right? They went through everything with her, the risks. She knew the risks. They got her back because she has an all-star physical therapy team, and she was ready to go, right?
yeah,
And like mentally, physically, everything. I think she just got unlucky more than anything with that new injury. Right. And she had run that route how many times or skied that route? I don't know the terminology for skiing,
yeah,
but it's very different when you have those kinds of stakes. And treating professional athletes is way different than treating jujitsu athletes that maybe have a job and are doing this on a weekend.
yeah,
It's so different how you treat people. That's why when we did JBLM Fight Night and I asked you, are there pro fights? Is it all amateur fights? Because it's different, right? Pro fight going for a belt, money on the line. They have 20 fights under their belt. That's a different story than first time amateur.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
going
yeah.
to stop those fights a lot
Black
sooner.
quicker. Yep.
Yeah.
And we did. I think that was a good time. Speaking of things that blew out, you watched the fight last night.
I did.
Man,
So
I
terrible for him.
I know. Like I ain't gonna lie. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta call Megan. I bet I just thought she was going crazy.
Brandon Bailey entered you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm good friends with his wife. And
yeah.
she texted me immediately. Their two daughters, I help coach and stuff.
Hmm.
And she goes, Lil, her daughter, Lil asked, is he going to call Dr. Megan? I was like, that's the dream, Lil.
Yeah, that's hey, Conor McGregor. I'm gonna hashtag you in this. I got a doc for you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
felt so terrible. My heart just sank.
But like, what? Obviously, this is your field, right? Like, I mean, just freak accident.
It's tough to tell, right?
Yeah,
Because sometimes athletes go in, especially fighters. I mean, he's worth tons, right? But fighters that are relying on fights, maybe they get injured before.
yeah,
And then they say, hey, we have to fight still. And they pick it up. Kind of like a Lindsey Vaughn thing, right? You
yeah.
know the risks, you get your therapy, you go in, and then it's unfortunate. Something else happens. But the way he landed on his knee, it could have just been freak too, right? It twisted
Yeah.
a little pivot. I don't know what the diagnosis is. Like, could it be an ACL? Sure. Could it be an MCL? Sure. It's tough to tell just from the injury itself or from what I saw, but more than being the doctor part, the humanity part, like you felt terrible for that guy.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been a Conor fan since before Conor got in UFC, and before he was coming up in the UFC, I was a Conor McGregor fan. I've been a Conor McGregor fan for a long time. Always rooted for him, even though he's like the underdog and everything he did. But I still like root for him. But yeah, it was sad to see.
To see him come back again. I would love to see him and Max come back again.
That needs to happen.
Sooner than 5 years. Sooner than 5
Yeah,
years. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I remember I saw the doctors come out or come up into the cage trying to like talk to him, and you could just see him being like, "No, we'll deal with this later," because he was emotional.
yeah. I mean, I think that's the same leg. He also like broke his ankle
I thought it was
on.
a different one, but I
Hey,
didn't read into
I
it.
didn't read into it either. But I know like
I thought it was.
it might have been.
Well, the funny thing too was afterwards, I was watching the announcer, and she was like, "Okay, the medical team says there's a knee internal injury." I was like, "That's not really usually lingo," So it's like the translation was probably lost, and then people like the announcers don't know about medical, right?
No, not at all. No, 100%. No, I mean, yeah, no, they have no idea. They're just saying whatever somebody's telling them, and they're like, "Oh, what's that sound?"
It's like what's the cup thing where you put the cup with the wire
Oh yeah, the old like cup phone
and you
thing.
try to figure
Yeah,
out what is said, but it always gets changed.
yeah.
It's like that.
Oh yeah, and they probably said something that like they didn't even understand. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna say internal knee. This sounds a lot. So,
Yeah, we have to be cautious as ringside docs too, right? You have to kind of just say, "Yep, the knee is injured. Like we're done." Because there's a funny one where there was a guy that was examining the fighter's knee in between rounds, and he's like, "Oh, he's got an ACL tear." And you just hear Joe Rogan come on and go, "What's the guy a fucking MRI machine?" So you kind of like as a doc, you learn, like,
yeah.
okay, we're not going to say that anymore. So those kinds of things happen. So you learn from experience.
No, I can understand that. We talked you. So you get black belt in jiu-jitsu. You're obviously getting a black belt in jiu-jitsu takes a lot of technical knowledge, long time to get things done. Becoming a doctor, probably longer, a lot more detail, a lot more serious. Yeah. But having your black belt, do you think it's making you better as a surgeon? Do you think it's better, do you make him better with diagnosing people at any sport, not just jiu-jitsu?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Especially having the injuries. When I tore my ACL, I was devastated. It's like, how could I do this? Regret everything, not tapping in time. What could I have done differently? And there was so much regret. But at the end of the day, it's made me such a better ACL surgeon because I've experienced it. Getting my speech for people tearing their ACLs has completely changed because of how I felt. I tell them now, so 90% is going to be mental, 10% is physical. You're an athlete, you'll be back most of the time.
Yeah.
And then I tell them it's going to be your mind that's going to beat you. So that's what you have to work on the most. But there's a lot of parallels. And, surgeons, we're very detail oriented. You have to be. I am a perfectionist. Sometimes it gets me, and I have to remember Megan doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because enemy of good, great, or enemy of good is perfect is what I always tell myself. And sometimes good enough is perfect, right? Because you strive for perfection and then you fuck it up, right? That's very real in anything. And so jujitsu has taught me that too. The details, the way I teach jujitsu is very similar to how my mind works for medicine. And some people love it. Some people it drives them nuts because it's so detail oriented, but that's how my scientific brain works. And then just the calm under pressure. You're in surgery, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And so keeping your calm and having plans A through F is one of my mentors used to tell me. Plans A through F, Meg, and don't let step A interfere with step C. And so these are things that are super parallel, just calm under pressure and chaos. And teaching also has helped me because I teach residents, I teach medical students, and that's translated really nice as well.
I bet. I know I was teaching the other day, and I think I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, teaching attention to detail, but you called something about how people when they were taken aback, they were getting their legs trapped underneath, right? And then me and you talked, and you addressed the class and showed them hey guys, one of your best, and I said it in class, your most important thing in anything you do is going to be your training partner, right? Especially in jiu-jitsu. I have to have a live body to do jiu-jitsu. So preserving that training is great. And that's just the attention to detail, right? You've seen that from your perspective. I don't.
And injuries are a huge thing. I'm trying to just prevent as many avoidable injuries as we can. Sometimes it drives me a little nuts because then I'm trying to avoid all these injuries and I end up getting hurt because I'm trying to help my partner help me not get injured. So I pick my partners really wisely. And I forget one of the guys I trained with when I first got here, and he was big, rough, and tough. And I looked at him and I said, "Don't break your toys." And he just smiled at me. And even a year later, he came up to me and he's like, I still think about that when I start getting rough. It's like, don't break your toys. I was like, no, because nobody's going to roll at you, right? So what they were doing a crab ride kind of thing into back take and knees bent. And I said, lift your partner first, then straighten the knees. When you get the back and somebody's on their knees, you don't just fall backwards, right? Even in competition, I don't think that's appropriate either. But that's always things I battle with because why am I going to try and blow somebody's knee out like that, right?
Yeah, no, the competition is just cutthroat.
It's a different beast. I know I have very different mindset about it because I just, it sucks when somebody gets injured, especially knee injury, shoulder dislocations, elbow dislocations, big knee injuries. You're out for a year. Yeah. That's a long time.
That scares me. Yeah. If anything scares me in the world, I tell people all the time, I'm not scared of much. I am scared of being out of jiu-jitsu for a year. That would... Yeah. Because it's such a big part of me. I'm I don't know. I mean, I think maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe I need to find something else. Maybe this podcasting would be my second part. But, it's such a big part of my life and has been. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I was 15 years old. I'm 42.
I will tell you, though, anytime I've been injured and I'm kind of sidelined a little bit, I still teach. I teach as soon as I can. And I'm always watching instructional. I'm at the gym still. Yeah. Almost same amount on the sidelines, but I'm there, putting a gi on, whatever, on crutches. Actually, after my ACL surgery, the day after I went to jiu-jitsu, I was in St. Louis because my buddy did my surgery, one of my mentors. And I went I couldn't drive because it was my right leg, but I was still on pain meds. So I Ubered. I got in an Uber. This is 24 hours after surgery. There was regret because I swelled like crazy. I should have been home icing and elevating, but I had to be there for my mind. Yeah. It's okay, surgery's done. What's the next goal? Okay, we're going to get back to jiu-jitsu. And so you get a little crazy like that. But I don't miss a day still. My body feels a lot better when I'm out of jiu-jitsu that long. My neck doesn't have pain. This is feeling pretty good.
I equate that to an ice bath, right? You get an ice bath and you first get out, your joints are on fire for 40 seconds, maybe less. But and then you're man, this is great. That's how I am with jiu-jitsu. I don't do jiu-jitsu for a week. I'm my body killing me. And then a week later, I'm oh. So I've been down one time. Well, 2 times I've been down, but I think one time I had a hernia, inguinal hernia, and I had to have surgery on. I was out for 9 weeks or something like that before I could even.
That's not even bad.
No, that's not bad at all. And So I think after like 2 weeks, yeah, about a week and a half, I finally was like, "I gotta go to the gym, man, I can't do it." So I did, I go to the gym, put my gi on, then I started helping teach, and I kinda slowed roll myself back in, and then, I weirdly, and even though I'm crazy and I still just go do crazy stuff, I actually weirdly worked myself back into doing jiu-jitsu hard because I was even not because I was just ignorant to it, I didn't know, like, I was worried I was gonna blow my intestines out, and I don't know. Like, I just was like, "Oh my god, I can't do this." But, yeah, it's one of those things, man, you just kinda like, I don't know.
I got LASIK last year, and I was like, "All right, when can I do jujitsu?" He's
Oh,
like, "Well,
yeah.
I will wait a month." And I said, "Well," like the next day, I had 3 surgeries, literally the day after I got LASIK. I had 3 surgeries, and that's how I told him. I said, "I'm deploying in a month. Like, I got surgeries and I can't reschedule them." He's like, "All right, well, good luck." I'm just putting eye drops
Jeez.
in between surgeries. I was okay. I had perfect vision
Did you have to wear shades? Don't you wear shades after that?
just right after.
Just right after,
But
okay.
then you take a nap, wake up, and then perfect vision. I
Oh,
walk
okay.
my dog at night, and it was incredible. And then the next day, I had 3 surgeries. I went to the gym and worked out light. He's like, "Just don't sweat, like, don't get your heart rate up too high." I did, like, a light bike and some lift, and then I taught jujitsu too that night.
Nice.
I just taught from and I had
Yeah.
people do the moves, but I remember buying goggles online at, like, 2 weeks, and I tried to wear them to train
Like
to
sports goggles?
Yeah,
Yeah,
protect my eyes, but
yeah.
they kept fogging up. It's like,
Yeah.
"Alright, I'll wait 4 weeks."
Yeah,
You win.
that's the one thing that I was a competitive instructor for the Army for a while, and the one thing we have to ask everybody is, well, 2, we ask them about TBIs, yeah, have you had one? And then or a concussion, and then the other is, like, LASIK. It's, like,
Mhm.
on the paper big, like, "Have you had LASIK surgery in 6 months?" We never ask them anything else. Like,
Yeah.
have you
I
ever
think
blown
it's
your
whole
knee out?"
teaching,
Yeah,
the LASIK stuff, because I asked him, I said, "Do I need PRK if I'm gonna go do jujitsu?" He's like, "Nope, that's old."
yeah.
My ophthalmologist, I was like, "Great."
Yeah, I think just things haven't caught up with time.
Well, that's the military.
Yeah. So becoming Doctor Jiu Jitsu. You had a podcast out. I actually love listening to your podcast, by the way. I did. I listened to the last one. My daughter actually listened to me with it. She was in town. She just flew home. Yeah. And she was like, I was listening to it in the car. She's like, "Who's this?" I was like, "Oh, this is my friend Megan, blah,
I
blah,
met
blah."
her.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
met her
yeah.
too.
Yeah. And then she goes, "Today I was talking to her and she's like, I'm like, Megan's coming on the podcast." She's like, "Oh, I'm so excited." I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love listening to her podcast." I'm like,
Oh, that's
"Did
awesome.
you understand anything she was talking about?" She's like, "I looked it up later."
So I need to get simple well, that was a with Eugene,
Yeah.
that was a little complicated
No,
because
but
it
it's
was
cool.
PT.
Well, I think the level's good. I think what you're doing is sparking people to educate yourself,
Oh,
right? Like, I know the Army keeps this whole KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid. But I think if we all become mediocre speaking, we're all going to be mediocre, right? It's okay to like, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm going to go educate
yeah.
myself.
I try to simplify things, and then you get somebody who is also a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a physical and in medicine, and
Yeah.
then we tend to nerd out,
Yeah.
right? So, but I tried to simplify some stuff. I did.
No, no, no. I loved it. But so when did you realize there was something that you needed to like bridge the medicine and jujitsu? Like, what made you become Doctor Jiu-Jitsu?
Around 2021, I was in a relationship and it was pretty toxic. It was a bad relationship and I was struggling to get out of it. And then I kind of hit a really big low in my life and I was trying counseling. I was trying all these things and nothing was helping. And I couldn't get out of this rut. And on the surface, looked great. I was purple belt. I had a great family, my dog. I was orthopedic surgeon. But below the surface, like if you came to my house and saw me, the house wasn't like a mess or anything. But I was sad
Yeah.
and I my one of my friends, I'm sitting at the couch and on the couch trying to prep for surgeries, and I'm just staring at the wall. And she goes, "You need help." I was like, "Yeah, I do." And she gave me information for a life coach. And I was like, "Well, what am I going to lose? Like, I'm already so low. I've tried counts. I've tried this." And I reached out to him. He is my life coach to this day, 5 years later, almost 6 years later. But he helped me get out of that rut. We did a lot of work. And I broke up with the guy, said, "I'm going to go compete in worlds, like master worlds." I hadn't competed in 7 years. And that was kind of what I used. I used that breakup, like all that energy. I said, "We're going to turn this into something good." And then I just focused on competing, went to worlds, like did tremendous, won that,
Yeah.
had such a blast. And I would tell people the story and they're like, "You have to write a book about that." It's like, "No, I don't have time for that." And then I tell somebody else, "You got to write about that. You got to share that." And after a while of everybody telling me this and then thinking about it, shit, I got to write a book. And so I started writing a book 2022. It's almost done. It's getting there. But I started writing and then met some really great people. My buddy Hussein, who does a lot of like website stuff. He goes,
Yeah.
"Well, you need to market that book." I was like, "Can I just write a book?" He's like, "No, you have to get a website. You have to get followers. You have to be able to sell it." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." So we got a website. And then that was where like Dr. Jiu Jitsu spawned or I don't even know if spawned is the word. No, not spawned. Sprouted,
Grew.
birthed. That's where Dr. Jiu was born. And since then, it's just kind of been adding and adding. I'm like, okay, let's start a newsletter. Okay, well, I want to talk to people. Let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
And then the goal has always just been to bring knowledge to fighters because I would see so many fighters, no insurance, no knowledge of situations, tearing ACLs, dislocating shoulders, and just coming back the next day like it's nothing. And I was like, you may still do that. And I want you to at least be educated and know what's up.
Yeah.
So that was the purpose.
I mean, that was me. I was 18 years old, took my first pro MMA fight, did pro MMA for like 3 years straight before I joined the army because I thought that's what I was going to do. And I mean, I was fighting. I probably had 10 pro fights under my belt by time in 3 years, which is insane. And I mean, probably not nowadays, but back in 2005. No, I joined in five, so 2003 to five. Yeah, 10 pro fights. You go all over the place, Pennsylvania. I was in New Jersey fighting. I was in Maryland because I grew up in Maryland. So, I know the whole area, but I was the same way. I had no insurance.
Yeah.
I've had a 1989 Honda Civic hatchback that barely smoked, blue oil everywhere. I'd drive this thing to the gym. All I care about, I would just fight. I got to fight. I got to make it. And then I realized that fighting doesn't make you money, sponsors do. And I couldn't figure it out. I was young, so joined the army. But no, you're right. I think I'm glad that came because, a lot of young fighters and I know some today that are close to me, like these young guys coming up in jiu-jitsu. They just know they're 20 years old, no job, no insurance, no nothing. They're doing jiu-jitsu. They're blowing their knees out. They're coming in wrapped up. I'm like, man, we got to figure this out.
My goal is just to keep people training, keep people doing things as best as we can, and just knowing the options, right?
Yeah.
Here's a surgery option if it exists, or like non-op all the way.
Yeah.
And then trying to create some kind of plan where, because jiu-jitsu people can't stay out for more than 2 days. I've noticed, or myself as well, right? 2 to 3 days and you're like an itch and you have to get back on the mat. And so it's how do we keep people safe? It's a shoulder. How do we focus on more legs, keep that safe? Or is surgery actually something that I recommend? And then just giving facts, right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens if you don't do surgery. And here's what happens. Here's the percentages of what happens if you do. And I just like people to have that education because I think most people don't.
No, you're right. They don't. So what is the biggest injury you consistently see in jiu-jitsu? I might be surprised by this. I think I know what it might be, but I want to hear. What do you think is the biggest injury you see?
I think fingers are very common, but they tend to be the ones you can still train around, which is nice most of the time. Most of the time. Like I hurt my finger back in March and I think I took a week off.
Yeah.
And kind of came back.
Yeah, I took it out of pans, right? That's the one that took you out of pans. I remember we were training gi.
Closed my hand. I was like, I can't grip. But then I could do no-gi, which is my favorite anyway. So the grips are bigger for you're gripping wrists, you're gripping versus gripping fabric where you have to tighten your hand more. Hands are common, necks are common because of inverting and stacking and wrestling and sprawling. But some of the most devastating ones are probably like knee ligamentous injuries. ACL, MCL, posterior lateral corner combined with meniscus. Meniscus isolated is probably the most common injury I see. And that's treated a little bit easier, but ligaments keep you out the longest. Shoulder instability, like shoulder dislocations and elbow dislocations. UCL tears, which is like the Tommy John procedure that everybody knows from baseball.
Yep.
I see that a bunch because of arm bars.
Yes.
So I have partners who do like hand and elbow surgery. I do sports surgery, so it's a little bit more broad, but they do hand and elbow. And then they're like, how come you get all the UCL injuries? Because I know all the jiu-jitsu guys and people like to eat arm bars, So those are probably the most common.
So I looked at you sent me some stuff and I was looking through it and like actually educating myself on like how, like, I'm just like, oh, you're a doctor. Then you do fellowship and now you do this. Well, after reading your stuff, I'm like, it doesn't work that way. But so how did you get into like sports side of the house when orthopedic surgery? Now, I know you said, do you specialize in knees and shoulders? Is that what you specialize in?
Yeah. So going back, when you go, people don't even often know what doctors do to become surgeons. It's a very long process. So it was 4 years of undergraduate school. So I went to USC in California for 4 years. Then I got into medical school at Rowan in New Jersey, did 4 years. Okay. So now I'm 24, 25 at that point. Then you do 5-year residency in orthopedic surgery, 29-ish. Then I did a sports medicine fellowship at WashU, St. Louis, so a year, right? And then you go practice on your own. So like you aren't really practicing on your own until your 30s if you're going to be a doctor.
So to educate people or if people who want to be future doctors, because who knows who's going to watch this, but at what point do you kind of start getting paid, right? Because I think about like monetarily, we're like, oh man, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to make but you got 10, 12 years of school.
Well, that's why I think less people are doing it now because you don't even really need to go to college anymore, right? You may have never had to. And when I was going to college, it was weird for you. In my community, it was odd if somebody didn't go to college. One of my best friends, he wanted to be a stuntman and he went to college for like a year. He was miserable and he wanted to be a stuntman. He didn't need college. He's a gymnast. He rode dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
And he's doing very well without college. So I think a lot of people now are like, okay, I can go to college and get a career and be making 6 figures potentially, or whatever, even if it's 5 figures, like doing well at 21.
Yeah.
Or not 20. Yeah, 21. Yeah, 22, 23.
21, yeah.
And so it's hard because you have to long game it.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't start making money. Like I would do odd jobs. I taught anatomy. I was a lifeguard. I was a bartender, which actually makes really good money. I was doing like private parties, bartending. That was side cash. It was just to live. I had really supportive parents. And then I was probably 25, 24 when I got my first like steady paycheck residency. But you're not making a lot, right? Back then you're making like 40 to 60 grand a year, working sometimes 100 hours a week plus.
So, but residency is an educational piece, but you get paid for it.
Because you're an employee of the hospital, working, seeing patients, taking care of patients.
Okay, so they got to, I understand. So in a business mindset, I have to kind of pay you because then I have to
But it's like
insure
cheap
you.
labor.
It's super cheap labor. I like it. But yeah, I understand where that comes from. Yeah.
Right. That's when you start actually operating.
Okay, nice. And then, so residency, you start getting paid. And then once you're done, then everything else kind of falls in place.
Fellowship, you get paid, but again, you're just,
So do you apply for fellowship
You
or is
do.
this something?
you
Okay.
apply every step of the way.
So I've been looking into my PhD, and that's kind of my next step is my PhD, and I have to apply to business schools because I'm trying to get mine in business. I'm going to do a PhD in business, and you got to apply to these different schools, and they have to accept you. Nice.
Yeah, but then when you go to get a job after fellowship, you don't do applications. You have to get like letters and maybe a personal statement, but a lot of the times it's word of mouth, and then you just go to interviews.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
That was more
fun. Yeah. Awesome. So what is one, we'll get back to this Doctor Jiu Jitsu piece. So what's one myth about training injuries that drives you crazy from the doctor's perspective?
Oh, yeah. God, this is what my PT buddies all the time, that you can get back with a brace faster.
Oh, yeah. The anaconda brace. I see. That's the only brace I know. I mean, no offense to anaconda, by the way. I just don't know.
Braces.
Yeah.
I think they're great. I wear braces. I wear more compression sleeves.
Yeah.
The problem I have with braces is if athletes think they can, like we just did an ACL surgery and you think, doctor told me 9 months, but I'm gonna get back at 6 because I have a brace that's protecting me. And that's not doing that. There are some braces that are return to sport braces. We put in like linemen, for example, like any kind of lineman with, well, if you ever watch the NFL, all linemen have braces, right, on both knees. But these return to sport braces are bulky. And I had one when I was returning to jiu-jitsu. You can't fully flex in it. It's like metal. So you can't really train in those that are going to do a better job keeping stability because they're bulky and they're strong. So I always try to stress, like people say, could I just brace it? I'm like, you can brace it and put a compression sleeve on, but you still have to train around it. And you still have to do physical therapy to strengthen the muscles. You can't just put a brace and move on and ignore it.
You had a guy on your podcast, I don't know who it was, but he was talking about how he was trying to come up with a brace for jiu-jitsu.
Maybe Mike.
It might have been because he was talking about braces and things like that. And he was like how they don't feel correct on you if you take a knee, they're bulky and patty, and he was talking about like he would love to be able to like develop
Oh,
something.
that was Eugene. That was for like bursitis.
Yes,
the wrestlers wear the huge thick knee pads because you get that bursitis, that swelling in front of the knee, and then it looks like a tennis ball or like a big golf ball in front of your knee, and it's uncomfortable. And those can become infected. We can have a lot of problems with those. But we were talking about developing some kind of thinner knee pad for jiu-jitsu that still allows you to flex a lot. It's not like a thicker wrestling pad. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, I used to wear a Whoop. I don't wear it anymore because I can't wear stuff in jiu-jitsu. And then like Whoop came up with this like bicep band you put on. I tried it. It just didn't feel right. And just from the movement of jiu-jitsu, it might work for some people, but not me. But I thought that like I related that because I mean, I think I've wore a brace, like a sleeve, not a brace. I've worn like a knee sleeve or something a couple times. And they're always like weirdly uncomfortable. So it was cool to, again, from your perspective, being a doctor in jiu-jitsu, right? As somebody else who does jiu-jitsu, understands the sport, to be able to come up with something like that would be really cool because you do it.
Yeah, so. But it's a sleeve. The main thing is it's a sleeve. It's a pad for bursitis, but it's not for stability. So if you have a ligament that's out, if there's a meniscus tear, something like that, this brace is not going to protect you. You have to have the right mechanics. Your leg has to be strong and you have to have the trust in it mentally.
Yeah.
Versus like a crutch, like a brace. But I think they're great. I love sleeves. I love all of them. And I train with them on my knee sometimes, but it's not going to protect you from having an instability event or tearing a ligament.
It gives you that 50% mental, like, oh, I have this on, I'm safe. It's like wearing a seatbelt in the car, I guess. You feel a little safer.
But another thing that drives me nuts in jiu-jitsu is when like it's the tough guy thing. People get injured and then everybody's like, oh, you're fine, brush it off, like keep going. But that's your body telling you something. And I talk to a lot of my PTs about it in the military too. They're like, people don't come to our door until they're months down the hole with an injury. When they come to us, it's so late already. If they had just come to us in the beginning, we could have probably treated it and gotten it better faster. Because nobody wants to shut themselves down. And sometimes that is part of it, right? Shutting yourself down for a little bit.
It happens. So, and I said in the beginning, right, you've done you've done more in your career than some people do in 3, and I meant that, right, because you have a lot, right? It's impressive. So you've gone through med school, residency, done your sports thing, you're working, you're doing your thing, and then the military comes up, right? So you've gone from civilian orthopedic surgeon-ish, and then you correct me if I'm not, and then to deploying with special operations, to working at a major now at a Army hospital. So why join the Army after already being successful as a civilian?
I tell people because I'm a lunatic.
Well, yeah. Me too.
That's really the I always wanted to join. And when I was younger, people just, I guess, with the way I walk, I think the confidence from martial arts, and they were like, "Oh, you must be in the military." I'm like, "No." And then I think the seed started getting planted of like, that would be pretty cool. And I always thought about it. My parents, "You're not joining." They came from Cuba and they were like, "You're not dying," right? Because their mind
Yeah.
went to the worst possible. I said, "Well, I could be a doctor and like probably be safe." And they said, "No, absolutely not. Like, we'll help you with school." And then I went to school, still had it in the back of my mind, but thankfully had help with my parents and was able to go to school, go to medical school. Because most people in the medical field join the military to pay for everything,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not cheap. And so I've got friends with like $400,000 of debt coming out of medical school
Oh, yeah.
when we got out. So people joined for that reason, but not many of us joined because we want to do it. And I kept having it come back when I was a fellow. I reached out to recruiters, and it didn't really sound enticing at the time. COVID was happening, had a great job offer at Emory in Georgia. So I took that. I said, you know what, not the right time. But then I got to Georgia and I was working on a lot of military guys from Columbus, from Fort Benning, and like Fort Stewart too. And I was like, damn, these are my people. Like, and these are the athletes I want to teach or I want to treat. In my eyes, like military athletes, soldiers are like the ultimate athlete, right? They like drop out of planes, risking their life,
Yeah.
carrying heavy loads, trying not to die. Like, what other athlete does that? And
No, it's not.
maybe you could say jujitsu athletes are fighting for their life, but
Yeah, but you can tap out.
tap.
You're not gonna.
Yeah, and usually
Yeah.
it's an injury we can usually treat.
Yeah, you ain't
These
tapping out
guys
of
are.
war.
So that's where that looked great to me, and I always wanted to wear the uniform. Like, I'm super proud of the country. My parents came here for a reason,
Yeah.
and yeah, I wanted to jump out of planes, which I haven't done yet because every turn they're like, "No, we don't have money for that school. We can't send you there." But I'm gonna fight. When I want to do something, I do it.
Yeah. No, well, that we can tell. But that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So I've been in the military 21 years. I've come up through ranks, been around the world a lot. So I've seen different hospitals and things like that. And I'm just a guy who gets treated right. So what is something that surprised you though about military medicine when it came to being in the military?
Military medicine. So when I was a civilian and I would see buddies of mine at jiu-jitsu who were veterans or active duty, they would be like, "Oh, the doctors aren't good," and this, that, and the other about the doctors in the military. I said, that can't be right. And I started meeting some of the surgeons and hearing their frustrations with the system, really. But when I joined, the surgeons are phenomenal. And I think what happens is the system is not efficient. And it's very difficult to get in. We're very short staffed, right? I
Hmm.
think I counted the other day. We're 7 orthopedic surgeons at JBLM, and there's like 50,000, something like 50,000 people on that base. And we treat the veterans and we treat the dependents, right? So
Yeah.
14-year-old kid comes in from a tearing ACL on the soccer field, and it's a master sergeant's daughter, whoever's daughter.
Yeah.
We're treating them too. So it's a lot of people, and the system it's not efficient enough, and we don't have enough staff.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like, saying the doctors are bad. The doctors are tremendous. It's just that it's so hard to get in. It's so hard to do all the steps, and then when they finally get to us, everything is great. It's just getting to that spot. But yeah, it's the government. It's a lot of
Yeah.
inefficiencies, and when I was a civilian, it was just way more efficient. There was more support, more staff because it's different. It's private. Right?
Yeah, it's privatized. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a conversation over my time in the army, and I always thought like I hate saying the term "get rid of." I don't think we should get rid, but I definitely think that the military medical side should go privatized instead of keeping it in house. I know we're saving money probably in some big spectrum of the business aspect, but there's a fine line between saving money and quality. I think we still have a lot of quality, like you said. Surgeons, doctors are amazing. It's just they're restrained by the low budget system of the army getting the whatever's going to be the most cost effective.
Well, luckily, this is the nice thing when I was at the conference this week, there weren't many military surgeons, it's mostly civilian docs. And they were talking about prices and insurance companies and fighting for things. I was like, I don't have to fight for anything.
No.
If I want something for my patient, I get it. So that is really cool.
Yeah.
The patients are also tremendous, right? That's why I joined. I am a sports surgeon, and I am like 95% sports now. When I was a civilian, I was 30%, right? I would see the athletes, but I had to go out and find them. I had to go cover football games all weekend. And then I was still seeing general stuff. I was still doing knee replacements. I was still seeing like grandma with bad hip. So I was hand injuries, kids with broken bones. So I saw everything. Now, and one of the reasons I joined is because I'm almost 100% sports injuries. Like, I'm so specialized. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So without giving away anything classified, you're not allowed to. You did deploy forward. You were able to see some of the stuff out there, right? What was that experience like being an orthopedic surgeon, sports surgeon in the military? Like, I know what it's like from the ground pounder's perspective. I know what it's like from the that side. But like, what is it like being a doctor in the army, be able to do that?
Yeah, we weren't really it was last year, so 2025. Nothing crazy happened. Thankfully, nobody got injured. None of my buddies got anything crazy. But just working with the team I worked with, you realize like the general surgeon of our team is the top dog right there because things that can happen are like chest, abdomen, right? The big injuries where people die. Like, of course, limbs and amputations, there's tourniquets. There's none there. There are some that we can use in like on the aorta and the big vessel that supplies the body. There are really cool tourniquet systems. They can't be on as long as like extremity tourniquets, and you have to get them there. Like extremities are nice because you just slap, you see it, you slap it on. But knowing the general surgeon is really like the head of the glue, right? He holds everything together. And I got to learn a lot about general surgery procedures, and it was kind of cool because I learned a lot more. And I've done courses where if I needed to, like I could help a general surgeon, I could crack a chest open, I could do like compressions on the heart, I could open the abdomen, and I can do all these things that I couldn't do before the military. I told my friends about this last week and they were like, holy crap, you're like a real doctor. Yeah, I can like stick a scope in a knee and do an ACL, and I can like open an abdomen and pack it with sponges to stop bleeding.
That's wild.
So I learned some pretty cool techniques like putting chest tubes in, doing crikes, which are like classic medic techniques. I didn't know that on outside the army, right? Like I've seen it before, but now I'm proficient at it.
Yeah, we when I was deployed in 2006, they taught us how to do crikes with a big pin just in case. There was all kinds of wild stuff. In fact, I was in Iraq in 2007, and some stuff happened. Whatever track fell on my foot, like a tank track. It blew off and flipped onto my foot, tomatoed my toes. But the guy on scene, he was like a PA, put aluminum foil in my nails and then sewed my toes up, right? And I was like, no idea what's going on. But apparently it like made my toes correct. It made everything grow back, right? So, 15 years later, I got normal feet. But
the aluminum foil trick's pretty cool.
yeah, I didn't know that.
Have the nail off or something, you just put the foil in and you can suture it because it leaves the nail bed open.
Yep.
So that the nail can grow. Otherwise, like the cuticle part will heal down to the skin. Yeah. And your nail won't heal.
No idea. 23-year-old dude just aluminum foil toenails. Like it was pretty cool.
They grow back normal?
But at first, yes now. But at first, that one was kind of going a little like, but I like over time, it kind of went back, But yeah, that's my like little crazy surgery and combat story. But
it's been the worst.
Well, no, 100%. I tell a lot of people like I'm super lucky, but I had, 2005, 6, 7, and 8, we were at the height of war. Like people were just, I think we created things to do at that point in time. It was
I hear stories from some of the like the gray hair guys.
Yeah.
They're just telling me about how they would have multiple casualties at once. And general surgeon, this is my orthopedic surgeon, but the general surgeon will be on one guy and then somebody else, mass cal, right? Somebody else come in and they'd have to start doing the general surgery procedures, opening the belly. Like, we're not trained to open a belly, but we're surgeons. Yeah. And so when you do courses, you get ready for that kind of thing. That was years ago. And those kinds of stories were why I joined as well. So now that stuff's really not happening currently.
Yeah.
It's not for us. We learn a lot from Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we train to operate if we need to.
Yeah, I didn't have to do it. I was young in the army, but I like the point I'm at now, if I was there take my position I'm in now, go there, like, at that point, those platoon sergeants, those guys, those young lieutenant platoon leaders who had no idea. Our medical training is garbage. I mean, we learned TCCC so I can, maybe put a bandage on. Yeah. I'm taping your fingers. Yeah, I think I'm a surgeon, but they,
that stuff's important.
Yeah.
Right? But that brings the guys to us.
100%. But it's like we were responsible for taking these dudes in on mass cows and being like, we had to make a decision if this guy was going to live or not. And I'm like,
that's a lot.
I got CLST, like I got the combat lifesaver training. I could put a needle in your arm, like to give you hydration. And you want me to decide if this guy's going to live? Like they would do these things where we'd make these trauma circles. Like, and it was like, you could imagine yourself in a building and you have 15, 20 people coming in with like wounded and you're up there and you're going, okay, this dude's intestines are hanging out. Am I going to be able to get this guy to save? No, put him in the I'm going to die pile.
Oh, wow.
And it's terrible to say it that way, but that's what you would do. And you'd put those guys together and then you'd work on the ones that you get, this guy's going to get on the bird faster. We can save him. Let's go.
I mean, these are tough situations, right? Yeah. And that's tough for a young, like private to have that burden.
Yeah, and
It sucks for us, like as the medical team, and those are real, especially when there's mass cows.
yeah,
You've got to figure out who you can treat faster and like who is probably not going to make it.
yeah, and I think that comes back to what you said earlier about having you were always told to have an A, B, C, all the way to F plan, right? Because not anything can happen in surgery. 'Cause I can imagine like you have a sterile room, a controlled environment,
Correct.
and you're doing your thing. No sterile room, absolute chaos,
Heat,
heat.
with headlamp,
Yeah,
the lights going out.
you're shaking hands. You're trying to figure out how to save that. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I can see why. I mean, I think anybody who went through that or did that's going to be, everything else will
They're
walk.
very common.
Yeah, very common.
There's no problem bigger than that.
I mean, I don't do surgery, but I look at problems some days and I'm just like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Right. So we'll transfer. Let's talk a little more about the combat sports medicine side of the house, right? Sports medicine side. So you've worked with a lot of things, boxing, right? You've talked about football. You've worked with some of the combat athletes. When I say like military combat athletes, right? Things like that. What is the difference about like combat athletes compared to somebody who maybe plays hockey, like an NHL player or a football player? But then you have a guy who's like a infantry guy, long tabber, special forces dude, like these guys who are like, I'm going to train because I don't want to die compared to I'm going to train because I want to win the Stanley Cup.
I'll tell you the similarity is the drive that
Yep.
they have to return to whatever they're doing. So that's really cool. That's just athletes. That's why I went to sports, because it's so awesome to see people want to get back versus sometimes you treat like an overweight hip pain patient and they just have no interest in helping themselves. And that's really hard. I'd rather hold people back. And that's what I do with all these athletes.
Yeah.
Whether military or not, combat or not, I have to hold them back and protect them from themselves. But differences are more so in the type of sport, because hockey injuries are different than football injuries, are different than pickleball, right? Because pickleball is the big thing now. But the injury patterns are different. How you treat might be a little bit different. And it also depends on age. It depends on what they do. So in the military, I'm all right, what do you do? Like, what are we getting back to? What is your job? Because these are different things, right? That we have to get them ready for.
Yeah.
And it may change the surgery, and it may change whether we do surgery or not, because an ACL tear is not the same in any person.
No,
In
100%.
two people. But mentality wise, I don't know, they all want to go back quick.
Yeah.
Hockey players, when I covered hockey, we'd have a shoulder dislocation, pop it back in the locker room, and they'd be like, I'm going back in. Like, what? You're going to dislocate again. Like, well, if I don't, then somebody from the minor is going to come back up, or I forget what they call
Yeah.
it. Somebody from the lead below is going to come up and take my spot next week.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap, right? The military is a lot nicer in that way that when we do surgeries, we can plan for them. Sometimes people have missions and we have to plan around. It's like, okay, well, we'll put you on a schedule for 3 months when you're back from that, if we can wait. And then they have phenomenal PTs and they can kind of take their time getting back. I can write profiles. I can talk to commanders and be like, hey, look, we got to chill and we have to get them back right. Yeah. So that's kind of nice.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I think baseball's the same way, right? Like you can be pulled up to the major leagues of baseball, and if you suck, you could be down back in the minors the next week. So I could see that. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's very different depending on, there's so many factors that go into a patient. It's like, a patient's on my schedule, ACL tear. I'm like, all right, what else? What do they do for a living? What's their age? What are they trying to get back to? Because some people are like, I just want to get back to playing catch with my kids. Great. That's a very different goal. It's a goal, but it's different.
I feel like it's low threat. Like this guy's just going to be okay.
Jumping out of airplanes with 500 pounds on my back and then, skiing on the weekends. And it's like, okay, that's
go till you die kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we work out, right? Back in the day, we'd work out. It was like, we used to say if you quit, we'd call the ambulance because you'd have to go to the hospital. So like, I remember coming in the Army on Monday, I'd run 7 miles. Like just Monday morning run 7. Then the warm up was ridiculous. We didn't even warm up. You run 7 miles. And then Tuesday, I'm smashing weights until I can't even walk. And then Wednesday, I'm running another 5 miles. And then Thursday, I'm smashing more weights, but now I'm wearing all my combat gear. And then what we're doing Friday? 7 more miles. So it's like, I was a young kid in the Army. I'm doing 20 miles a week and, everything's hurting. But I'm like, we currently, we just got a bunch of alcohol on the weekend. We did it again on Monday. And that was the mentality that was bred in us for years.
And I think now we have the capacity to do those kinds of workouts, building up to it slowly, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing people into that and getting injured. Recovery is huge.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when I was younger, I used to work 100 hours a week, working out after 36 hours shifts awake on energy drinks and coffee and barely keeping my eyes open because I just wanted to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, I go drink. And that's terrible. That's not recovery. And so with age, I've gotten a lot more wisdom and I train hard. I do everything to the best of my ability. Surgery, whether it's prepping, whether it's operating, jiu-jitsu, but then you have to recover. You have to sleep. You have to eat well. and not just spend a weekend drinking.
I'm starting to learn that with jiu-jitsu myself. I started like, I think before I got here about a year ago, I used to just go hard in the paint. Every day was Puada. I just go hard. But here, like I do hard and then it's like, okay, I do got to rest. I got to eat right. I got to recover. I start lifting to recover, not lifting to be big and strong. That changed up a lot. And I'm getting older. I need to understand that I can't recover and do the 20-year-old thing.
Yeah. And there, I mean, if you go hard in the paint, eventually it's going to give. Something's going to give. Have a big injury. Like after certain, maybe a red eye flight, I probably am not going to go straight to like something crazy, some crazy, insane workout. I might go do something lighter or just like do some technical rolls with some friends because when you don't sleep, there is research to support you have a higher rate of injury if you're low on sleep. So just being very cautious with those kinds of things and maybe saying, do I actually need to do that intensity today? Probably not, because the regret is real afterwards too.
I learned that going to Pans. I took a flight into Pans, went to Florida, and as soon as I landed, I told my professor what time I was landing, I was going to come by and just kind of hang out. And as soon as I landed, I get there, and he's like, hey, you're teaching. I'm like, crap. I'm exhausted. I didn't realize how exhausted I was till I started teaching. And then I realized I was dehydrated. You know, I started smacking the lips. And then, of course, everybody hasn't seen me in months. Like, Joe, let's go roll. Let's roll. Let's roll. So it just turns into this fest of like, and I was like, I should have just said no. But I was destroyed afterwards. I was like, what am I thinking? Yeah, I'm about to compete. Luckily, I got in 5 days early. So I was able to like, you know, hit the hot tub and kind of recover.
But recovery is so underrated. I think we're better at it now. And it's one of the things I teach to my athletes too. Like, go do hot yoga, go get a massage, get in the sauna. Like I'm a big ice bath person, but there's so many things that we can do to help our body. And I mean, I love massage. I'm there almost every other week because it's just so tremendous for the mind and the body.
Yeah, I have a weird freakish thing of like, I do jiu-jitsu and I'm all over people, but I don't like people massaging me, man. I don't know what it is. Like my wife gives me a massage. It's great. Like I love it. It's fine. I don't know. To me, it's like massage is like got that weird intimate connection for me in my brain, even though it's probably not, but it's just like, I just can't do it. Like, yeah.
Especially when you have somebody you trust.
My wife tells me all the time.
Same person every 2 weeks.
My wife goes and gets massages too regularly. And I'm like, this is one day. So jiu-jitsu, right? For every grappler listening, if you could only change one thing, right? What would you tell them to change in their athlete, their life, what they do?
One thing is tough. One thing I've learned in the past couple of years is choosing my training partners wisely.
Yes.
Especially as a 123-pound female. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, even the ego still comes out now. Of course it does. And I try to train with these big dudes and be like, yeah, I might be tiny, but I'll still destroy you. And maybe I do. Maybe I get on their back and choke them out. But then maybe I'm out for weeks because they tried to stack me or something crazy. They freaked out at the last moment, dropping their weight on me. And they're big dudes. So now I am way more cautious about training partners. And I think also the way that I enter roles, like unless I'm in competition mode, there's no need to grab somebody with the most aggression you ever had in your life. Yeah. Sometimes I make a mistake if somebody's like a lot better than me, crazy black belt, my size, and I'll grab them. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean to go that hard. But I got real excited. So the way I enter roles is super chill. Like I try not to make strong grips and just set the tone early that I'm not here to kill the person. Yeah. And it's hoping that energy transfers. But yeah, just saying no to a lot bigger people or people that get crazy in roles. And you can usually see that. So that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. I think people, before they get to the black belt, they need to learn to say no. It's okay. It's okay for a brown belt to say no. It's okay for a purple belt to say no. And I say that with all genders. I know we focus on female grapplers and saying no to certain people and things like that, but I think everybody should say no because to me, I don't look at any students any different, right? If you're 120 pounds, you're 120 pounds. If they're 260 pounds, they're 260 pounds. Look at Gabby Garcia. Or good Lord, like she's bigger than me. And like, I would probably say no to her and she's a female. So it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So.
And I roll with some big guys. Like where I was in Georgia, my main coach was 210, 20 pounds, I think. I don't know what he weighs now, but he was huge, but he rolled like a little guy. Yeah. And I loved rolling with him. Sometimes he'd use his strength and then sweep me or something and be like, okay, I use strength on that because you're getting close. Like, all right, cool, compliment.
I think a lot of black belts, and I kind of self-pride myself on this, but and I think me and you talked about this because you didn't roll with me for a little while and then we rolled and we've trained and we've done some sparring together and stuff. And one thing you said is that I roll really well with you. But I try to do that. I try to, as a black belt, I feel like I am responsible to be able to control the fight to the point of like getting good training and not control the fight because I have to win because I'm a black belt. I do not care about winning. What I care about is getting good training and passing on good knowledge. And if everybody wants to roll with me, I take that as a compliment because that means that to me in my brain, I'm doing good rolls. Like I'm not trying to kill you. I can keep the intensity right.
And the control. When I teach, I'm like, your technique is so much more important than getting a submission to me. If you can control that limb and isolate it, that's money right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people can't. They get so crazy and trying to rip things, and then there's no knee line control. There's no this control. So when I roll, I'm looking to isolate a limb and just control it, or the neck, whatever it is, and kind of just be like, all right, checkmate.
Yeah.
Like that's always my goal, rather than finishing something crazy or hurting somebody.
I've done that lately. I think I've gone a couple weeks, like I went 2 weeks one time without really tapping anybody, but I get to a point where I'm like, okay, keep going. You know, I got this, but I'm going to keep going. Awesome. Well, we're getting into this pretty deep. I do have something I want to have a little fun with when we get down here. We're going to call it like a speed round, right? It's rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you some funny, weird, not even weird. I'm just going to say things and you're just going to respond rapid fire. And we're just going to see.
Just one word.
One word. That's it. Right. So here we go.
Explanation.
No explanation. Ready? Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Gi or no gi?
No gi.
Boo. Favorite submission?
Rear naked choke.
Rear naked choke. RNC, man. It's the old school. I love it. I love it.
I have so many favorites though. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one.
I think our rear naked choke's good. You can get that
for gi and no gi.
Gi and no gi, right? Yeah, you can do that in any environment.
Yeah. But like heel hooks are so fun. The leg entanglements are my favorite positions because they're so mentally taxing, right? And for me to be, people are like, why do you like no gi? Just the leg entanglements in the game, the offense, defense, defense, one leg to the other leg is so fun to me.
It's a detail oriented.
So detail
oriented. And you're detail oriented. Yeah. I like it.
And in gi, I just feel like I'm getting smashed sometimes, especially with the lapels. I can't get out of things as easily. Like I can kind of roll over a shoulder in no gi, but in gi, you have my neck. I have a bad neck, so I can get stacked a little easier, and my fingers. When I'm training gi a lot, see, I'm sidetracking.
Yeah, you're good.
But when I train gi a lot, I looked at pictures the other day of when I was training gi a lot, and my arm was like around my mom, and I could see my hand. My fingers were just swollen at all the joints, like crazy. Versus no gi, like
I got gi hands.
Yeah, I don't want that for being a surgeon.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I got a buddy who's like, I actually had him on my show, and he's kind of like the hunchback with these fingers that are just, he can't make full fists. Like, man, how do you tie knots? Like in surgery, he goes, I just use knotless, because a lot of our implants, you don't have to tie knots. Like, they all have this technology where you can just pull and it cinches, interlocking mechanisms. And I was like, okay, well, that works.
There's something out there for everybody, right? No, I like that. That's good. Okay. Least favorite injury. I know what this one. Go ahead. Least favorite injury.
Least favorite injury to treat?
Yeah, just in general in jiu-jitsu. Like if you got it, anybody, like if you're going to get an injury, right? Say I'm here and I know injury is going to happen. What would be the least favorite one to get? So I'm going to hurt myself, but I don't, what's the least thing I want? What I don't want to hurt?
I mean, most catastrophic would be neck injury.
Neck. Okay. That's right. We're going to say knee.
Okay. Rarest, but most devastating. We've seen it, right? Where people kind of just become paralyzed or dysfunction from a weird neck hyperflexion kind of injury, getting stacked, getting slammed. So I'm very against slamming for one of these reasons, because I've seen people walk away almost walk away from murder, from death, because I've seen it weighted and they move their arms on. Thank God. But I've seen it too where they don't, right? And most of the time they're transient, meaning short and then comes back, like a pinch on the nerve comes back. Yeah. Most catastrophic though, and we've seen it before, and they're like, people get lawyers involved. Like it's pretty nasty when they happen, because you have no function of your limbs, or maybe limited function. But out of common, ACL is probably the toughest to recover from and get back.
Like it. All right. Favorite UFC fighter?
That's a tough one. Well, we just watched Max Holloway. I love. He's such a good dude too.
Okay.
But my favorite of all time, oh my God, what's the chick that's from, she has like the pistol on her ribs.
Is that Rose? No. I don't know.
Wow, her name's escaping me.
All right. If it gets tagged to you, we'll remember.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look it up.
All right.
I really like her.
Dream?
Is it Shevchenko?
Maybe.
That sounds right.
Okay. Dream surgery to observe. If you could watch a surgery, which one would you like to watch?
I don't know if it's like a surgery I'd want to watch, or a master surgeon. Right.
Okay.
There are some,
I like that,
like masterful surgeons that you just like. One of them is Matava. He's my mentor from Fellowship. And I watch him do knee surgeries, and it's like a symphony. And I said, if I could be half the knee surgeon that he is, I'll have succeeded.
That's awesome.
Good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Dream vacation.
2 months, literally anywhere, but 2 months in Asia.
2 months in Asia. Yeah. Okay.
Like Indonesia, Vietnam.
I think 2 months is perfect. That's enough time to forget about the world.
Especially in medicine, you don't go away for 2 months. You probably go away for a week.
Yeah.
With medicine.
That's crazy.
You're taking care of people, and people rely on you.
All right. Biggest pet peeve on the mat. We're recording this.
Okay. This one's funny. I teach no-gi Tuesdays and Fridays at night. And so everybody's had a full day of work, smelly feet, right? Like being in boots all day and then just coming to the gym to train, especially because I teach a lot of leg locks.
Yeah.
Smelly feet. at the end of the day.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. Everybody's gonna know. I wash my feet before every class because it bothers me too.
Yeah.
Freaks me out.
If I train in the morning, I won't. But at night, after I've been in the hospital in my boots in the operating room sneakers, I just wash my feet.
No, I did. I
Wash my whole body
Yeah.
sometimes if I've had a sweaty day.
So I understand that like people are gonna come from normal jobs and you can sometimes cannot shower and things like that. But I stinky grapplers, man.
Well, there's also wipes and there's things.
Yeah, you can do those things. Yeah.
But a lot of gyms don't have showers, right?
No.
They're expensive. They're tough to get. Luckily, we have one. So I'm like, I took a shower before.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I mean, I keep deodorant in my bag. I keep a little bit of wipes in my bag, and it's not because like I'm just in case I have that time where I ain't good
I think
to
you
go.
can hide it a little bit better sometimes than gi. But
Yeah.
in no gi, like your shit's out in the open,
And
right?
then
And your
gi,
feet are there.
yeah. But in gi, you'll find out who doesn't do laundry.
That's true.
All right, favorite cheat meal.
A Manhattan and a chocolate souffle.
Okay.
Not together. But like the Manhattan burgers with like a steak and then a chocolate souffle.
Awesome. Last one. Best piece of advice you've ever received.
I think what I said before, enemy of good is great.
That was a good one. I remember that was really good.
Or sometimes I say enemy of good is perfect because whether it's jujitsu, whether it's operating room, you're trying to go for perfection and you end up maybe doing harm or back to square one 30 minutes later, right? That's happened in surgery. Try to get something perfectly placed and then you're back to your first placement of something. I'm like, wow, yeah, that was good enough.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to take that little quote to myself too because it's great. It's the same thing with what I do in the Army. And, even in the business world, right? It's like not everything's going to be perfect. And you're not going to know everything either.
But people could argue back and say, well, what, you don't want to be perfect? No, of course, I always strive for excellence. Like any surgery I do, jujitsu rolls, like if I video them, even if it was a great one, I could win a tournament, win a competition. And like, how do I make it better? Right. So something in my OR, I've done mission trips to other countries and we have like signs on the outside of our OR rooms for who's in that OR, in the operating room, operating room. And mine is always like Mighty Mouse, A-. And because people call me Mighty Mouse and then A- because that's what I say. People will be like, all right, like, how do we do? And I always say A- because there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
And like sometimes I'm tough on myself because of that. And I also think that makes me a great surgeon because I'm always looking to do better. It's not that I'm down on myself or being like, you suck. No, you are great. And where can we improve the next time?
Oh, 100%. You will find your greatest achievements in the losses.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, especially like, and not everything's a loss. Like I might have done something spectacular, but I know there was things I could do better.
Yeah.
And that's good. All right. I love this piece. I did this one especially for you. So this is coach versus doctor. Me being a black belt. I'm gonna say I'm the coach, right? I'm the coach here. You're not teaching now. You're just the doctor. I'm gonna give you these little scenarios. We're gonna see how you would respond and how I'm responding. I'm gonna give you my honest like coach opinion, and you're gonna go, God, you're terrible, but it's okay. All right. So here we go. A student hears a pop in their knee during rolling. What should happen in the next 5 minutes? I'll give coach first.
Okay.
Walk it off.
No, but it depends because pops are different things.
Yeah.
Like, was it an ACL pop? Are they swollen as shit and they're unstable and they stand in their knee buckles? Or was it just their kneecap kind of making a weird noise? Because everybody's joints click and pop. It's just life. So my question would be, what was it? And usually people don't ask me about it unless it's bothering them.
Yeah. See, details, no details. Walk it off.
Correct.
Next one.
Well, I guess walk it off smart too, because if they can't walk, then there's a problem.
Well, I just want
That's great.
I just want to walk it off for 2 minutes to get to the next round.
Oh no, you walk it off and see if it's bothering you.
Oh.
The getting up to walk will probably show you if it's bad or not.
Okay. What movement do you wish every BJJ coach, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for you guys, would stop teaching?
What technique?
Yeah, what technique? So what movement technique? So I'm going to say movement, right? And mine's going to be hated by all.
Well, I have a couple.
Mine's one, stop inverting. I hate it.
Why?
I don't think there's anything you can do productive upside down.
Yeah, I'm an inverter, so. But I'm also careful with my bad neck. So I invert with smaller people or people I trust that aren't going to stack me.
Yeah.
People my size, mostly. But yeah, inverting's great. How do you guard your cover?
Well, no, I mean, I definitely 100% invert myself and I 100% do go where to get. But if I could say, like, what I don't like is so this is awesome. This is going to lead into a really good question, a really good piece, right? Is I grew up in self-defense jiu-jitsu, right? But I am a sports jiu-jitsu guy. I do not do jiu-jitsu so I can beat somebody up in the streets. Can I survive in the streets? Yes, but that's because I came up in the old school.
And you're in the military.
Yeah, and I'm in the military. But the thing is that I do jiu-jitsu now because I enjoy tournaments. I enjoy points. I enjoy getting to that, right? So I like to be on top. I like to get points. I like to sweep. I like to smash pass. That's a little bit of old school. And that's why I say there's nothing I can do from upside down. Now in the streets, if I get in a bar and I try to go berimbolo, like first you're going to look like a clown, then you're going to get kicked in the nuts. So I don't think it's good. But
no, I enjoy inverting. But I think if your neck is bothering you, it's probably something you're not going to do. My things that are actually banned in a couple of different schools, like very high name, big name schools, like jumping guard.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like Keenan does that, right? I think Keenan has a ban on jumping guard. I saw that.
At Legion.
Yep.
No jumping guard, no Connie Basani on like scissor takedown.
Yep.
And like scissor takedown, I think is very strong when done right, where you're kind of going behind the knee and bending the knee. But the problem is most people fly right into the side of the knee, and then you have MCL, ACL, meniscus, right? Those are slamming because of the neck. Those are my big three that I can think of. Oh, what is it? Tanya Toshi, I believe.
Tanya Toshi, where you step across the front of the knee to take them down over your leg.
Well, that one's a rough one if you don't do it right. And yeah, I actually, a couple of weeks ago, Memorial Day, a friend of mine, like multi-ligamentous knee injury from that one. I think it was that. I can't remember, but that one. And then I forget what the one is called when you're on the side of, you're on their back, kind of move to the side, and then you fall, you drop your back leg. So
I forgot the name of it. My boy's a black belt in judo. I'll ask him later, but yeah.
Most people fall into the knee, like similar to Connie Basami. Is it an M or an I? I don't know.
I fight, don't
the scissor takedown. Okay, similar to the scissor takedown, you fall into the side of the knee, causing the knee to buckle.
Yeah.
And I've seen ACL injuries, MCL injuries there too. So those are the kind of the ones I don't love.
That was the one thing about judo. I love judo. I love trained judo, but what I think judo scares me more than jiu-jitsu. It really does, man, because I mean, those guys are, you go above the knee, below the knee, you can get thrown.
There's some crazy throws. Yeah. It's very impressive to watch.
No, super impressive. And I have some really good buddies who are really high-level judo guys, and they've taught me some good stuff, and I can foot sweep, and I do things like that, but man, some of the
schools aren't even like banning the technique. It's just doing them properly. And
Yeah.
I think they get banned from these schools because a lot of people don't do them properly.
Yeah.
Right. Jiu-jitsu guys look on Instagram and they try to do them and then destroy somebody's knee.
it's facts.
Or their own knee. Yeah. But jumping guard and scissor takedown are easy. Like, just don't do it.
I heard a black belt tell me that today. So I saw this on Instagram. Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I love my Instagram jiu-jitsu, but then it's like, does it work? Sometimes.
All right, last one. All right, what's one coaching habit that actually helps prevent injury? Mine is, and I hate saying this, I'm going to say it out loud, but I always think it's it. Start on your knees when you begin. Like when you're a beginner, I think in the first couple of years, it's okay not to be on your feet.
Yeah.
We will, but I think starting on your knees is pretty smart.
It's fair. Best coaching tip.
To help prevent injuries.
At the end of my class, when I teach, I do like a safety brief, like a military safety brief. And I go, okay, look, we're not doing scissor takedowns. We are not jumping guard. And especially because I teach leg locks and I got teens in my class.
Yeah.
And so they know we catch and release, especially with leg locks. If I see somebody ripping, I threatened them last time. I was like, if somebody hurts your training partner because you ripped something or tried to jump guard or do a scissor takedown or something dangerous, I'm gonna break your femur.
Jesus.
And the kids were like, what's a femur?
You got to get one of those charts. It says, where did I get hurt? And you just point at it. This is your femur. It will snap. Okay. Well, in closing, this is for you to leave an impression on everybody who's going to watch this, right? If every soldier, athlete, doctor, parent listening today could remember just one lesson from your life, what would you want that lesson to be?
I think the most best things that happened in my life have come from very low points, like mistakes I made or challenges that I've faced. Taking challenges, because we are all experiencing it, and you never know what's going on behind somebody's, like under the hood, right? Somebody could be at work every day doing everything and they look great and you don't know what's going on. So taking those challenges that are under your hood and then doing something great from it and not just spinning out of control, drinking, like depression, all those things may happen, but there's something better on the other side. So take that bad energy, that negative thing, that challenge that you faced and turn it into something good.
It's awesome. All right, Megan. So where can everybody find you at? Where in social media, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, most of it's just under my name, meganjimenez.com or drjiujitsu.com, spelled out full doctor because somebody has the DR Jiu-Jitsu already.
Imagine that. Somebody's Instagram handle.
I know. I was sad, but it's okay because all my stuff is really under my name. Okay. And then, hoping my book will be out next year.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Look forward to hearing it. So, hey, again, thanks for coming on. I appreciate everything. It's been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm super excited about this. Until next time.